Yeah, my dad was a trapper in northern BC, and so I grew up really in the bush. And I've learned a lot about uh, what it's like to kind of be in connection with nature, and I've always had this kind of this ability to be able to see what's going on with folks, but I didn't have great language around it. So I worked with people in trauma cases, the really, really powerful session work. But it wasn't until I really saw it with Syra and Monique wrote the book, and we said, like, what's going on? We got really curious about what's going on with folks, and how do these things intersect? And we wanted it to be mainstreamable, right? So it's not like,
Because there's all these like little like different fringe ideas around healing that are outside of Western medicine that end up remaining on the fringe, and some of those are rooted in ancient traditions. And so we were really curious about how do we take some of this knowledge that's been around in human history for millennia and modernize the understanding and help our kind of modern minds get around it. Is there some overlap? Is there some continuity between these different systems of Eastern medicine and Western medicine, and how do we bring that all together?
yeah. And so my wife, we've been together for a bit, like 40 years, and she's the complete opposite of me. She's very scientific. She always wants to know exactly why things are happening. And so as we did this work, she kind of said, she started out to write a course. Course became a book. There's another book on the way, because she really likes to dig into what's happening in the human body when these shifts are happening, or when you folks are sitting with somebody who's really activated in front of you, what's happening in you and what's happening in them. And so that's a little bit of what we're going to talk about today, hopefully, and help maybe just to take a pause and have a slightly different framework to take into your work and your workspace. Because as I think everybody here, as in your field knows, burnout is a really big thing. Or working while you're burning out, maybe is like, maybe you're not there
You're
yet.
kind of bracing against it and trying to do all the self-care things so that you don't burn out. And we're saying, well, there's actually a totally different way to be in relationship in a helping profession.
What we're asking today, just as best as you can, to try not, we're going to introduce a couple of concepts, and they may push a little bit against some older ideas, but we know that change happens when we allow something different to come in. So as best you can, try to stay open till the end of the thing that we're presenting. And we want to leave you guys with some stuff today that will help in the nuts and the bolts of everyday regular work that you have to do.
This is a concept that we've termed pre-paving. So it's kind of like we tell you why it's going to be hard before we get there, so that you're kind of ready for it being hard. And this is something that we do in client sessions, this is something that we do in our group work. And so I want to read you this quote from the book. This work is not about becoming better. It's about becoming whole. We don't teach performance. We teach presence. We don't offer formulas to perfect your life. We offer tools to return to what's already within you. And so one of the foundational principles in this work is that we deeply believe that each person has everything they need as far as wisdom and guidance and direction already within them. Our role is to help quiet the noise. So there is a guidance, there is kind of an internal compass that each one of us has, and we can each have access to it. So that's the foundational principle.
And we all know this because we've all had those moments of inspired thought and action when we're dealing with perhaps a difficult person that's sitting in front of you, presenting really with a lot of anxiety or something. And some days you can handle it really well, but there's some days when that button's getting pushed and you don't handle it as well. So you're essentially the same person in both of those situations. So what's changed? What's different? So we're going to help you to kind of be able to start to recognize that. Or the other thing, like Syra talked about earlier, burnout doesn't just happen. It's a slow burn for most people. You might notice it and not want to notice it, that when I go home from work, I wasn't able to turn it off as easy as I was a year ago.
I was snappy with my family. I was so tired that I fell asleep in front of the TV after 20 minutes of watching something, right? Yeah. So there's these signs and symptoms that many of us experience that we maybe, ignore. And then we get to a point where it's like, oh, and now I can't get out of bed.
And I think we have one of our folks that works with us was a nurse for a long time, and so she's helped us to fill in some of the stuff that you guys encounter that we don't. And part of that is the environment that you guys are in, where and correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not in your environment, but we've heard and I have a doctor who's a really good friend. There's a lot of the it's not always a safe place to be vulnerable, if I said it that way.
because
I see lots of heads
there's a
bobbing.
little bit of a culture of just keep going
Yeah.
in medicine, right? It's like you push through and you show up for your patients, and that's kind of the culture of the environment. And it's getting better. It's getting better in the last 10 years with people understanding that mental health is a thing and actually being able to talk about it. And but there aren't really clear guidelines individually for what we can do when we're stressed. I mean, there's lots of tools and ideas which work some of the time and don't work other times. So
And
that's
often they work when you're not at work.
right.
So what we're going to try to do is bring some stuff that you can use while you're at work. So it's not like, okay, I go to the gym, I'm better, but I'm in the middle of my shift. I can't just walk out and go to the gym. I do meditation, that works, but I can't do that so easy here. So we're going to try to bring some really practical things that get you to the same place quicker.